We believe that sales are done by people talking to people. Not AI, not fancy tricks, but people talking to actual people. And while giving every customer the attention they need is the desired goal, it's hard to be personable on a large scale. After all, you can only write so many emails each day. That's why we're introducing flight plans. Our goal is to help salespeople have as many real conversations as possible. We've created processes and tools that eliminate data entry and reduce the burden of everyday tasks so salespeople can focus on talking and selling. Flight Plans is our take on sales drip campaigns with features such as action items, outcomes, and analytics. A flight plan is a series of steps or a sequence that acts as a personal sales campaign for multiple leads, contacts, etc. Think of it like a travel route. You build a timeline of emails, calls, and to-do items for your flight plan, and then you add prospects to the specialized flight plan that's the best fit for them. You can create flight plans for leads that come in through specific channels, for prospects that attend a specific event, or you can have different flight plans pre-built for different teams in your organization. After all, the language and approach used by sales development reps for cold leads is entirely different than how sales managers would approach a current client. Flight plans can be custom built to your needs based on your industry and sales process, so you can be automated and personable at a large scale. Then, as passengers travel through your flight plan, you respond to their emails, you make calls, and you create a relationship with them. And what's amazing is that your email conversations avoid spam filters because it's not spam. You're sending from your personal email instead of a mass email service that's tagged by Google and other email providers as spam. By interacting with action items, you're actually talking to the person without having to remember when you need to follow up or copy-pasting the same email messages over and over and over again. All of the information you need to complete the action is ready and available in the action items window. This saves you so much time so you can talk to more people. Again, people talking to people, that's the goal. Finally, we have outcomes and analytics. An outcome is the result of an individual conversation with a passenger. Tracking what happens to customer conversations is essential. Yet we usually wait to run a sales report at the end of every month or every quarter to see how many deals closed or were lost. But by then we might have missed something funky going on in the sales process that cost us a lot of deals and could easily have been corrected if we'd just known about it earlier. On the other hand, we might have found something awesome that we could have used more of and made even better. That's why we built flight plans with outcomes and goal values in mind. You can manage your sales process, see what direction your efforts are taking you, and do this in a clear, visible way for you to iterate and improve on your methods. Flight Plans is set up so that every flight you send a passenger on always ends with you selecting either a positive or negative outcome. Those outcomes are based on the conversation with the passenger and could be something like scheduled a meeting, committed to purchase or donate, not interested, they requested a future callback, or they just never responded. Regardless if the outcome is positive or negative, having a record of why every conversation ends is highly valuable. Our flight plan analytics allow you to easily see what's happening with ongoing conversations, and by giving each outcome a goal value, which is the estimated revenue generated from this outcome, you also have an idea of how much should be coming through your sales pipeline, so your team can see the cash value of their actions as they're going through the process. You can then open the data for individual flight plans and see which step is having the most positive or negative outcomes. Then, based on the data and goal values, you'll determine where you can improve and what's working. And all of this allows you to see if there's an ROI earlier in your sales process and be able to change things before you get too far down your list of leads. Now that you have a basic idea of how flight plans could help your sales team, I'm going to do a very quick overview of how you can build a flight, interact with action items, and view your outcomes and analytics. There is a lot that can go into building a flight plan, and if you want an in-depth explanation of everything you can do, then you should visit our Flight Plans Academy page for our training videos at cirrusinsight.com/academy. For this example, I'm going to create a basic flight plan meant to get a response from a cold lead. So I'll name it Cold Lead Response, add a description so my team knows what this plan is for, and then I'll scroll down to create the action item step in the flight plan. Then I start with the first step by clicking the drop-down menu. Here's where I can decide if I want this to be an email, a call, or a to-do item. Then I'll give this step a name and insert the content here. And if you're familiar with our email templates feature, then you already know how to do this in the flight plan. It's the same process. And what's awesome is that you can pull from those existing email templates or call scripts that you've already been using. And barring any major complications, we can help you migrate that information over. If that's something you think you need help with, you'll definitely want to talk to your account executive about that. Once we've got the content in place, then we add another step by selecting this button here, and then we select the action item we want. I'm going to make this one a call, and like I did before, I'll name the step. Then I'll determine the amount of time between the previous email and this call, and that could be as short as 2 hours or any number of days after the email has been sent. It's just another way for you to customize flight plans that best fits your sales process. Next, I'll add the call script information by selecting a pre-built call script template, or I could even create a new one if I wanted to right here. All right, now that I've got the script, we'll finish this flight plan by creating a to-do item. Now, to-do items are great because you designate a separate action that is part of your outreach or selling style. For instance, if you do a lot of selling on social media platforms, then you can say friend them on Facebook or share an article on LinkedIn. Or maybe your company has a lot of local clients in a similar area, so you could drop by the client's place of work and bring a box of chocolates or just send them some swag in the mail. Pardon the pun, but the sky's the limit when it comes to your to-do items and flight plans, really. Once I've got the flight plan looking the way I want it, I'll set the default outcome, which in our opinion should always be no response. This is because if the passenger never responds when the flight plan ends, then you have the correct outcome for that passenger. If a passenger reaches out to you before the final step, then you can say, hey, they started a trial, or maybe they said, hey, I'm not interested, stop emailing me, and you can choose the relevant outcome then. Finally, we select save, and then the flight plan shows up on our list here. After you started people on a flight plan, you'll be able to interact with the action items. Much like how normal tasks are attached to Salesforce records, action items are attached to individual flight plans. So, for example, when it's time for me to send an email to Bobby, Cirrus Insight recognizes it's time for that step and brings it up in my action items list here. Then I just click on the action button, and the email template selected for the step shows up in a new email window. All I have to do is make sure all the information is correct, maybe add a little more personalization if I want, and then send it off. It's very streamlined, it's very easy to understand and use. If someone has responded to the previous email that you've sent, then that shows up in your action items list as well. You just click the action button and it takes you to the email thread, and then you can take over the conversation manually from there. If you have the Cirrus Insight mobile app, then you can use the click to call feature, and Cirrus Insight will automatically dial the phone number for you. You just hit the call button on your phone when you're ready to begin and use the call script in front of you on your screen. After you're done, you can log the call to Salesforce with the Got Connected option, or select Left a Message or No Answer. Now, if you got connected and they decided to start a trial, then you can choose the outcome here by selecting Positive, Started Trial, and now that person's journey has ended. They're no longer going to be receiving any more steps in this flight plan because they've reached an outcome, so they're done. The information from this person's flight has been saved and can be viewed in the flights page. This is where you'll find most of the flight plans data. You'll be able to see how many actions have been completed over a set amount of time. You can also view individual flight plan performance data by clicking on the flight plan. This is where you'll see the outcome breakdown that I was talking about earlier. The graph will show the positive and negative outcomes for each step in the flight, as well as how many people are currently in flight at each step. On the next page, we have the step details and a bar graph for you to view as well. These graphs are how you can see at a glance what's working and what's not, without having to run an in-depth report every time you want to answer the question, so how's our sales funnel moving along? Overall, Flight Plans is a great tool that can help you manage your sales process on a larger scale while still having real conversations with your customers. And now we want to ask, if you have any more questions, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to answer them for you. And if you'd like to get started today with Flight Plans, we can help you with that as well.